Hello, my name is Mary Sewall, and we will work on lesson 7. We will start with piano, and then we will also work on the new instrument at the last lesson that we did, called the mandolin. Even though you may not know much about it or really care, the thing is, it's very important to learn a secondary instrument aside from your main one. It helps you to understand music. And the mandolin was very popular in Italy in the 1700s. And one composer called Vivaldi, an Italian, he was an ordained priest, but he was so musical, he wrote hundreds of pieces. And one of his pieces, a concerto in the 1970s, was in a movie called Kramer vs. Kramer, and they played Vivaldi's concerto with a mandolin at that time as the main theme. I never saw it, but I wanted to get hold of it so I could listen to it. And then I was surprised to learn that Beethoven, in the 1800s, he composed 5 piano pieces with a mandolin. And that's another thing that I will look into. But for now, we'll go to the piano and we will see what it's all about. We now will go over this piece. I'll leave it here for a while so maybe you could copy the melody, which should not take long. They're just single notes. All right, we have this G, and we did not have a high E, but if we look at this chart, we have a high D, E here. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. It's an octave higher from middle C. So, and then we also have a D. We have the D by the middle C. An octave means 8. It means 8 notes higher. And there's another D. Then we do the same thing with middle C. Middle C looks like this. It's an octave higher. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So they're just higher notes, that's all. And we'll go over it while you have a chance to copy it. All right, we have G, high E. All right, now since we're playing notes, and being that we know how to read music, we took, and I played the piece from a guitar book. has nothing to do with piano. If you go to the store, you buy a guitar book, you get guitar music. But being that we know how to read music, and instead of saying maybe, oh, I don't want to learn how to read music, forget it. But then if you're interested in the guitar and you open up the book, I'm going to learn to play the guitar. And the first thing they put down here is you have to learn the music. You'll have to learn how to play from notes. Otherwise, you're not going to go anywhere. This will be meaningless. But being that you know how to read music, you might wonder, well, why is it that I could play it even though it's written for piano, but yet I'm playing from a guitar book and I don't know anything about the guitar? Because the music doesn't change. You apply the music to whatever instrument you're playing. Okay? So now we're playing this E. Music is music. It's not going to change. Here's the D, middle C, and then we have C, D, wait a minute, C, C, C. I better read it from here. Okay, and then we have a B, G, and then we move along here, and we have E, E, F, G, A, G, E, F, G, A, G, B, C, A, E, the same D. And then we go along and we start G, E again, E, D, C, 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 B, A, G, E, E, F, G, A, G, E, F, G, A, G, G, A. The same music. You have to learn to write it down and then be able to, because when it's printed it looks a little different. And so here we go, and we're able to read every note, and if you get confused, go to the chart and look at it. All right, now we'll go to our secondary piece, and we'll play again from the guitar book. And this piece, Onward Christian Soldiers, is really a hymn. It's a religious piece. And the good hymns will last for centuries, but I would think forever. And it's not like a pop tune where it comes out for a few weeks and it disappears off the face of the earth. Why waste time with it when you could learn and use that precious time for something that will last forever? It's a good point. Anyway, this song was written by Sir Arthur Sullivan, and it's in 4/4 time. They use it for special occasions, like the United States when they had the president at that time during World War II. You know, they will play this music. All right, and it is in 4/4 time. Alright, now we want you to play it, so we'll go over the notes on this one. Actually, it has the same chords. If you were playing the guitar, you're doing more than playing the piano, because since it's a guitar book, you're learning this means you play the C chord on a guitar. And this means you're playing the G7, 2 chords. And these marks here mean that the guitar player is playing the guitar. He's playing the guitar. And then over here, the same time the piano is playing, the guitar is playing also. So we have G, 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 A, G. This is by middle C, E, and the guitar. Oh yeah, the piano is holding, but the guitarist is playing, and then middle C, high C, and B, and A, F sharp, G. The F sharp, if you have a sharp sign, you take the F and you just go up a half a step. All right, now we have D, and G, G, C, G, A. The guitar plays. Middle C, C. See, this is interesting because over here, what happens is when we get to middle C, we said this C, the right hand usually plays the treble. And when it gets below middle C, the bass comes in. Well, here's middle C. Now we're going below. We're going to a B, so we're in the bass. And then an A, and then going back to the B. And that's all, that small area, then it goes back to normal again. But anyway, once you get here, you play your B, A, and back to B, and so on, and then you go to middle C. So then you go G, G, C, B, C. While you play the C, the guitar goes boom. The guitar goes boom. Everybody plays together. Okay. Actually, if you play it again, you will be playing the second verse, the third verse, the fourth verse, and so on. All right. So now we'll go to here we are. Yeah, I wanted to show you what mandolin looks like. I made this sketch for you, and it has 4 strings. A guitar has 6, but the mandolin only has 4, and they're doubled. 4, and it's a small instrument. I wouldn't be surprised if they use it at the the Philadelphia when they have the Mummers Parade. It has a very loud sound and it's small and you could play and you don't need much knowledge for it. You don't even have to read the notes. You just play the chord, bum bum, or whatever they're playing. It's a wonderful instrument. And so this is now this is the mandolin. What they have, because the mandolin, excuse me, is related to the violin, has 4 strings, and it's related also to the lute that goes back centuries. The Vivaldi, he wrote many, many pieces for the mandolin, and it became quite popular. And it's very, very important to learn a secondary instrument because it helps you with a major one. And so then also when you're playing guitar, you're playing from these, they call them the grid. These are charts where you put your fingers, you don't count the left hand, you don't count the thumb, you count 1, 2, 3, 4. And the first finger, it says 1 here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. You put the 1 on this string, and you put the second finger on this string, and the zeros mean leave it alone. It's already, you just play all 4 strings and you get the C chord. And then you follow the same thing with the G7 chord. And so you only need 2 chords for it. Then you take, and even though you don't know anything about the mandolin, you're already playing the music, and you're learning chords, so you're not just daydreaming and saying, oh, someday I'll start to practice the mandolin. You're doing everything at the same time. Forget about, that you'll do it, because you probably won't. So anyway, and then you'll be glad that you did learn notes, because if you say, wow, I like that music in that movie that they did, and I think I'll learn to play the mandolin. So the first thing you do when you open up the mandolin, how to read music. There's no escape, really. They don't tell you what they're going to do. They don't tell you have to read the music. But when you're ready to want to play and you have an interest in it, all of a sudden, what? Now how to read music. And you have to start from the beginning again. So by then, you probably will forget about learning it. So, we then open up, because we could read music, we open the book and, oh, I know that C chord. No, the C chord is here. And then the G7, and it shows you exactly, you could always get you could buy the book in a music store, and they'll show you what fingers to use and so forth. And you use 2 fingers. And so, and you say, wow, oh, I could play this piece because I know how to read. And then, you know that this is middle C. This is middle C. You know your E, your G, you know all the notes. And you're doing everything. You're doing physically, mentally, and everything. And it's not, about 10 years from now, maybe I'll learn it. But you're doing it right now. You go. I played this the last time. love to sing something like this, and it's not hard for the instructor to learn it. Everything is there. And then you say, wow, I could do this piece too. I know these notes. Okay. And the difference is 4/4 time. This one you only count 3 per measure. And when you count 3 per measure, then the line goes down, which is called a bar line. You cannot get any more in or less. You have to have because music is mathematical. It's very strict. Okay. Excuse me, you have your second verse, and then you could make up other verses. And now, oh, they have another song. We know all of these notes. We know the high E, we just had it a few minutes ago. We know the high D. So now we're expanding from last week. We did not know this high E. We did not know this D, but now we know it. And also the high C. We also know this. We know now 3 new notes in that short time. Okay, and then we continue 4 beats. And only the other instrument plays now together. Other instrument. Okay, so you wonder how far can I go with this? With a limited, now you see we have to stop here. This because we only worked in the key of C, and this has a sharp, so it changes chords also. So then we have to learn a new chord. We know the G, but we have to learn the D7. And the D7 chord, we put the second finger on the first string, the third, and then when you have to put the same finger, just like the guitar, you encompass both of the strings. You just slant your finger. If this is a guitar, then you would just slant your finger. And so you're playing that. So now, and then it does stay in the same key with that G sharp. So, and here's that, it's called the D7 chord. And so, and then you're able to play more songs just by learning one more scale.